Hello there, everyone. My sister decided to let my nephew spend a couple of nights with me for the holidays, and seeing that I typically create all my videos at around midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning, I will not be yelling. I will let the little tyke sleep. So please forgive me as I try to keep my voice down and pump out a video or two. How are game reviews useful? Well, I imagine that's pretty self-explanatory. More specifically, why having game reviews up before the game releases? Why is that important? Now, a little while ago, it was revealed that Ubisoft didn't allow the reviews of their game Assassin's Creed Unity to be posted up until about 12 hours after the game had released. Now, I wouldn't be talking about this if that game had released without a problem, but that's not the case. AC Unity released with some major problems, and that brings us to the cause of reviewing games. How and why is it important? Well, I for one believe that consumers should be allowed to make informed decisions when making a purchase. They deserve to know if the product they are considering is a piece of trash or not. And that is where the act of reviewing things comes into action. And if a company is not allowing a review to be released, then they are in essence hurting the consumer. And that is to say nothing of how companies falsely promote their games or use paid promotion to purposely skew the image of advertising of that game. Now granted, one may say that people who buy games without reading the review or at least looking them up, well then those people are idiots and that they deserve what they get. But it is here that I disagree with that. I think it should be the job of those informed to spread the message and try to protect each other. And for the most part, the internet does just that. And I'd like to think that game reviewers feel the same. I myself fall into this category, as I have stated in the past that I do really shit reviews that fall into the line of parody than the actual review process, but I still try to slide in basic information as I rage on about whatever nonsensical thing I happen to be rambling about. But I'd like to ask you to put yourself in the shoes of anyone at any major reviewing outlet, whether YouTube or not, and imagine what it must feel like to see people out there buying a game that you happen to know for a fact is terrible, but you're not allowed to tell them that it's terrible because sharing that information might hurt you or your brand. Now, I grant you, the consumer does take a lot of the blame for themselves. It is one of the reasons why so many people say that pre-ordering a game is so bad. But here's the trick to that. Pre-ordering games is not going to stop. But even if you do pre-order a game, that doesn't mean that you have to get the game. All a pre-order really is saying to the company, here, hold my money for me. You see, if a game releases and you find out that that game is shit before you pick it up, you still have the option not to pick that game up. Most retailers will move your money over to another purchase. And while I do understand that this does not solve the pre-order problem, it can be a small way to turn a negative into a slightly less negative. Responsibility is shared by the consumer and the reviewer. And while I myself still pre-order the occasional game, I do believe that pre-order bonuses can be a positive thing for developers as well as consumers. But till this day, I have only ever seen one company do it right. Anyway, I'm Vito, and I thank you for listening to this old man's ramblings.